Here's why being ignorant will help and support you in manifesting and co-creating your reality. We got to learn and understand more that ignorance is bliss. And oftentimes we seek knowledge in order to gain power. They say knowledge is power, right? And I can see how that works because in my life, I've been able to create and manifest multiple streams of income, create freedom for myself, be able to travel all over the world, meet amazing people. I've been able to help other people manifest money, success, and happiness and fulfillment too.
I feel like I have the tools and I've seen things shift actively since working with Jaden and Gavin to the point where I'm making high ticket sales, but also be able to see like my reality shift every day in so many different ways.
But for me, because my brain works differently, neurodivergent, I'm high functioning autistic, I have dyslexia and attention deficit. And these are labels that they use in our world to kind of put us into a category. But in my own identity, I tend to shift that or rise above it. And I just find out and navigate through life the way that my brain works. And so when they say knowledge is power, for me, from a very early age, struggling to read, I didn't feel like knowledge was power. In fact, I felt disempowered because I was unable to gain the knowledge that I wanted in order to fit into society. And when we look at society, as soon as we are, 3 years old, we are put into a prison, otherwise known as school, and we've got to cross our legs, fold our arms, behave in a certain way, and they kind of mold us into a box. And that box says, listen to the authority, listen to the teacher, and take on this knowledge, take on this information. In most schools, they're not teaching us about how to connect with ourselves. They're not teaching us how to connect with God. They're not teaching us how to connect with Source. They're not teaching us to find our fulfillment. They're not teaching us to find our joy. They're not necessarily teaching us to seek the kingdom of heaven within. They're not teaching us to realize that there's a different kind of knowledge because they are ignorant in a weird way because they've learned knowledge, which is supposed to be power. And now they're projecting that power onto us, implying that we need to learn it so you can become powerful too, which actually takes us away from power. And it's really interesting because there's a weird polarity here that I know personally. Through gaining knowledge, I have created material success and I've been able to achieve certain goals and I've been able to navigate through certain people and relationships and stuff like this through the knowledge that I've gained, through the information that I've gained. But when it comes to manifestation, there's so many different teachers and speakers and this technique and that strategy and we need to do it more like this. We get overwhelmed with all of this information and all of these different narratives and stories. And it's my intention to guide people back to realizing that you don't need more information, you don't need more knowledge in order to manifest your reality. You are powerful without learning from me or anyone else. Whilst I have a course that shows you how to transform your life over the course of 6 months, really in depth, really powerful stuff, the whole course is about undoing. The whole course is about healing your energy. The whole course is about letting go and shifting and reprogramming your traumas. The whole course is connecting back with the heart. The whole course is about transcending mind, transcending the illusion, transcending this matrix and stepping back into your true knowledge. And I'm going to be talking more about true knowledge in just a sec. Well, actually, maybe towards the end of this video, but I need to share this with you first before you listen to that part. The best part's yet to come. First, we need to ask ourselves, who is the one that is saying that knowledge is power? Who's the one pressing upon us that we have to learn how to fit into this system and become a part of the system and work a job, work a career and fit into what everyone else is doing? Who is the one that is implying that, or who are the people that are creating and manufacturing that reality that we all need to fit into somehow and squeeze into this box or squeeze into this narrative of what the world should be? And is it our nature to be a part of that? Is it our truth to be a part of that? And where are they taking us? What are we moving towards? And there's AI now, right? And things are moving in certain directions. And what we don't realize is that this internet that you are watching me on right now is the man-based matrix internet, but there is a real internet that we can tap into, or the spiritual internet. And we have been so embracing knowledge through the material 3D internet and not tapping back into the 5D pure consciousness, Christ consciousness, isness, enlightenment, samadhi, nirvana internet, the real internet, God, isness. And so there's this disparity. There's this feeling of needing to seek more information externally so that I can gather information and feel better and feel good. You know, there's a saying that I used to say a long time ago called mental masturbation, where we constantly consuming more stuff because it makes us feel good and we never actually take action into it or apply it into our lives. We might use techniques and strategies to manifest, but many of us stuck with the limiting beliefs and subconscious programs that are stopping us from truly experiencing more of our power, more of our knowledge. And when I say power and knowledge, I mean the real stuff that we haven't been taught from the external reality. You see, the ego seeks control, but true manifestation, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can say in the comments, most of your manifestations, I'm sure they came when you least expected it, when you wasn't even focused on it, when you was just in the flow of life, when you was free, especially that of relationships and love. They just kind of happen. You know, there wasn't something necessarily that you intended to do for the most part, or you didn't know how it was going to happen or how you wasn't going to experience it. You was just living and more in the flow of life rather than needing and wanting and trying to manifest, so to speak. In other words, you were in a state of surrender and just living your life normally, not caring, not needing or wanting or desiring. See, oftentimes we have this burning desire to create our realities. We have this burning desire to manifest. But why don't we have the burning desire to experience God? Why don't we have the burning desire to be one with God and realizing that everything will be manifested onto you from seeking that you don't need to manifest in that energy. You don't need to create your reality. In fact, in that energy, there's no such thing as creating your reality. I'm going to talk about that more in a sec, because on the map of consciousness at the top, you'll see there's a state of enlightenment. I'll put pure consciousness. In this frequency, you don't need to manifest. I'll talk about that more in a sec. So I was watching this interview with Oprah Winfrey. Despite who she is or what you think she does, whatever it is, she was speaking some knowledge here, but it was more like spiritual knowledge. And she wanted to be in this movie, The Color Purple. And she was desiring it, she was wanting it, she was needing it. And then she ended up crying. And then she started singing, I surrender all, I surrender all. She started singing this all and she started to surrender, right? And I'm not sure how long later, I think it was like a couple hours later or whatever, she got the call that she could be in the movie once she surrendered. When you become ignorant, it breaks the loop of thinking. Thinking is keeping you in polarity. Thinking is keeping you on left, right, up, down, right, wrong. And we have to understand that we have a left and right brain. We have duality. And then in the center, or we can say that we have two eyes, left eye, right eye. But in the center, we have the middle eye, the one eye, the isness eye, the God eye, the third eye, which takes the duality and merges it into one. And so real knowledge is actually not that of thinking and pursuing more information. It's becoming ignorant and stepping into non-duality and allowing those processes to flow through you naturally. So real knowledge, or I can say feminine knowledge, because the knowledge's power is more external, masculine knowledge. Feminine knowledge is that of awareness. Real knowledge, in my opinion, is awareness, being aware and practicing rising to Christ consciousness, practicing rising to states of enlightenment, practicing rising to non-duality and seeing the Maya, the brain, for what it is, seeing the left and right, seeing the polarity for what it is. There's this saying that the more that you know, the more you realize, the less that you know. And so we have to be aware that we need to free our minds and come to our senses. We have to free our logic and come back to our bodies and really connect with that more deeply. We have to realize that there's information in us already, in our DNA. There's information, there's our ancestors in us. There's our ancestors around us. There's different planes of existence where we have our guides. There's whole tons of information available that we can tap into in the real internet, right? We have this internet where you're watching me on YouTube right now, but we also have the spiritual internet. And that's what we are not seeking or not tapping into, and realizing that the matrix can confuse you more into not manifesting and limiting blocking your manifestations because you're stuck so much in the logical mind, trying to figure things out, trying to desire, trying to use this technique and that technique. And what I would advise is just to go play, be free, and just be in life, be in negative, be in positive. And doesn't matter if you're in either of those. It doesn't matter as long as you're aware, okay, my body is experiencing a bad emotion right now, and that's okay. Okay, my body is experiencing a positive emotion, and that's okay. Like, it's not bad or good, it just is. And that is awareness. That is becoming more and more aware, or experiencing more and more of the God frequency. You see, sometimes ignorance can be magic. Do you know what I mean? Ignorance can be freedom. Ignorance can be bliss. So there's a point where we have enough knowledge from the Maya. We have enough knowledge from me, from other YouTubers, other information. And then there reaches a point where you've reached the end of the pendulum. You've reached the end of polarity. You've reached a certain extreme in knowledge, right? And you have to realize that that comes with benefits, and we feel smarter, more intellectual, and more empowered. But also that might result in things like procrastination and mental masturbation, right? And being lost with all of these thoughts and overwhelm. Like, I work with clients and they say, I got all of this information, but I'm not applying it. I'm not putting it into use. And so at some point we have to deprogram. At some point we need to let go and live. At some point we need to surrender so that we can experience the thing that we are wanting. Oftentimes is more freedom. Freedom isn't in learning more knowledge. It's about living your life and not trying to be positive all the time, and not trying to control your reality, and not trying to convince yourself to become someone that you are not. It's about accepting who you are, and that you are there whenever you are saying that I need to be over there, and I need to manifest this reality, and I need to become a better person, I need to improve. You are saying that there's something wrong with me and I need to be fixed. Well, what if you just loved where you were at right now? What if you just accepted where you was at right now? What if you were just playful in where you are right now? What if you was just complete freedom in where you are right now? What if you just let the mind do whatever it wants to do where you are right now? What if you just let the narratives talk and play and do whatever they want? What if you let your feelings just be free and do whatever they want, rather than trying to control with the ego, trying to manipulate yourself into becoming someone else, trying to manipulate reality, trying to manipulate the simulation? Why not surrender more to the truth? Why not surrender more to God? Why not surrender more to being one with everything and recognizing everything as God, recognizing everything as source? Negative, positive, ups and downs in life, and flow with it. Isn't that where manifestation can flow much better, when we're not trying to controlling and trying to change your reality and wanting things to be different and wanting things to manifest is control. It's the ego trying to do stuff, trying to make stuff happen. Well, like I said, there's a certain balance in that. There's a philosophy called Wu Wei. Wu Wei means non-action or inaction. And there's a delicate balance between learning information, seeking knowledge, and undoing, and ignorance is bliss, and being in the isness, being in the playfulness, enjoying life, being free. And when I say enjoying life, I mean the negative too. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but accepting it, maybe not enjoying it, but accepting it and making peace with it and loving on that aspect of you, because it's truth, it's a part of truth, it's a part of this reality, and we need to build a relationship and cultivate a relationship with that. So one of the main things that I do when I'm working with people is to undo the past, undo the memories, undo the past emotions, undo the past traumas, healing certain energy forms within their field, healing and getting the heart connected back with the brain and the brain connected back with the heart. I mean, they're always connected, but creating more coherence between the two so that they can communicate much better. It's in the undoing oftentimes that we can become more free. Can you become more free with knowledge from the external world? Well, who knows? Like, when we're seeking more knowledge, we are creating more ego narratives and stories, and so we're still in the mind. There's this saying called embodiment. Embodiment is not a logical thing. It's an experience. Okay, and so one can, be manifesting and have knowledge around manifesting, and there's another level where it's a knowing and just an embodiment of manifesting. There could be like a spiritual understanding, spirituality on a logical level, but then there's a sense of embodying it and feeling and experiencing spirituality. And I'm using these labels just to explain it to you, because these things don't actually exist. They only exist because we need to describe it as spiritual, when actually it's just normal. Spirituality is just normal, what nature way of like we should be operating, but we've created a narrative and story about it that is something that we need to reach for when it's who we already are already. Like we've just been taken away from it. Does that make sense? And so we're being taken further and further and further away from it by seeking knowledge, by trying to get information from the matrix. And without this knowledge, if I take all of this external knowledge away, we're in a state of ignorance is bliss, and we'll just be manifesting. Like we wouldn't have a problem with manifesting. We wouldn't be thinking, oh, like I need to, and we're in this neurotic thinking, trying to think positive and trying to change my reality and seeking, desiring and wanting and needing and all of this stuff. All of this stuff doesn't need to happen when we're with our true selves, right? It's the world that's distracted us from our power. It's the world that's distracted us from our truth. It's the world that's distracted us from our bliss. And we are getting more and more lost in it. I know in the Bible it says, seek and he shall find, seek and you shall find, knock and it will be answered and stuff like this. But the problem with that is we are in a world we have been so distracted that we are seeking things that are kind of irrelevant, that we don't actually need. Okay, and once we understand what we actually need versus what we want, then we are empowered, because we can't be manipulated by the matrix. What do I mean by that? What I mean is when you know what you need, when you need your breath, right? You need your heartbeat, you need food, you need shelter, you need basic necessities and basic things, right? You need human connection. These are things that you need. Once you know that's what you need, you have everything that you need, you are empowered. When you feel like you need more than that, that is the matrix manipulating you, telling you that you need more, right? And that need is not actually a need, it's a want, right? But we confuse it with need because we've been so conditioned that that is a need too. So one of the things that I did is sold all my stuff and I became more of a minimalist. And my life actually fits in 2 suitcases. And I'm not saying that you should do this, but we have to understand our world is the way that it is because of consumerism, right? Consuming information, consuming certain products. Consumerism is one of the reasons the world is the way it is, and we've forgotten about our power. And so we want to consume to fulfill the void within, to try and gain power from the world when we are the power. Okay, we get more and more lost in the power of information, of consuming these products and services and whatever and whatnot. And then we think, okay, when I get this thing, I feel good, I feel happy, right? But we need to keep on getting those things in order to feel that sense of fulfillment. We need to keep on seeking over and over and over again, and it's never ending. But when we find what we need and we connect more with truth and we connect more with oneness, you don't need anything. When I say we don't need anything, you don't want anything. And when you don't want everything, everything comes. When you have no goals, everything comes. So goals, we usually have them because we want to get something externally, and we want that thing externally because we want to feel good, right? It's all leading back to a feeling. We want to feel good, we want to feel better, right? We want to improve our lives because it feels better, or we assume that it feels better. But goals are a form of escapism. Goals are a form of hope and distraction. And we have to understand that you can get your goals without actually going for them. And what I mean by that is the way in which we set them, we try to strive for them, and whatever it is, it can happen in a more natural and congruent way through God, with God, and having that energy flow through you rather than sort of the hustle and grind and trying to make stuff happen. It's weird for me to say this, and the way that I see it is if you grow up in the jungle, right? Jungle Book, you only have life and God, and you just live. And we need to learn to be like kids again. We need to learn to play and enjoy life whilst we have these responsibilities and bills to pay and things to do, right? We have to learn that this is all the matrix that's creating. We have basic needs, and the more we step into that ignorance of this young boy, Jungle Book, being in the jungle and realizing that itself is manifestation. that itself is a really high vibrational frequency. We won't need to try to be positive and try to do all this stuff. It's like less is more sometimes. So if you'd like to continue this journey with me, I have a program called Awaken, where it's a 6-month journey to undoing, right? It's not necessarily about more knowledge. It's about more connecting with yourself and doing the healing and undoing so that you can be more one with God, with truth, and manifest without manifesting, without having to use techniques and strategies in order to manipulate reality with the ego. You're stepping into the God frequency instead and just being one with source. All right, so links in the description.